McKinney, are you on? Okay. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin with a word of prayer, and we'll get into it. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we come before you this evening and we give you all the honor and glory. We thank you, God, for the willingness of everyone to participate. I pray that everything would work well, the technology, oh God, the internet, even the electricity. I pray, oh Father, that, help us to deliver the information in a way that is comprehensive to everyone, regardless their level of comfort with technology. I pray that everything that is taught this evening will be used for your honor and for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Sorry. Okay. McKinney is coming in, so we'll just give her a minute. So let's just talk about what we're going to do today. We're going to start with the jot form. So kindly open your, for those of you who are going to be doing it step by step, open your screen and pull up jotform.com. Gonna need to see when she comes in. Okay, so McKinney is on. McKinney, I've already asked them to open up their forms. So I think you should be able to share your screen. Let me stop. All right, good. So you should be able to share your screen and begin.
Oh, hi, good evening.
Good evening. Get some water. Huh?
Good evening. Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
You could go ahead. Are you able to share your screen? You're getting access to share your screen? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, start. Okay, sure.
Mhm.
I'm not seeing my desktop though, Carrie.
Press escape. You're not seeing it. All right, good.
All right, so hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry to be late. My name is McKinney Manuel, and I'm one of the volunteers on the CEFTT North Committee. So I work closely with Carrie, and I help her do administrative work when I can. And one of my jobs is to prepare registration forms for any programs that she is doing. So I use JotForm, which is found at jotform.com. It's a really simple website that allows you, it hosts your forms for you and it stores the information that people inputting information into the forms, that information is stored in a cloud. And it's actually very simple to use. I am not tech savvy at all and I was able to figure it out. So I'm going to lead you, well, hopefully I'm going to lead you in setting up your own forms today. So first of all, we just go to jotform.com and I'm currently on that website. And if you have a Google email address, it's easy to just sign up. Your Google will automatically sign you up for the service. It is free, but the free version only allows you to make 5 free forms and it allows 100 submissions. However, it's not very expensive for organizations. So it's, I think, $14.99 US a month to use it. And you can create as many forms as you want with that plan. So we're using the free version today, of course. And if you're following along with me, I want everyone to go to jotform.com. I should just type it in. Well, it's here, but I would. So right, and it usually takes you to the home page like this. After you register, one of the easiest things to do for your VBS program is to just use a pre-prepared template. So there's a template that I created for another program that Carrie hosted. So you could simply go to templates, as I'm doing now, form templates, and you search up Zoom VBS, and it would take you to that particular template. And it's free to use. You just get onto the website and search that template, and you can use it. So we're going to start off with using that template and modifying it to suit your organization. So after you search up the template, this screen appears. You just select Use Template, and everything's there for you. I apologize, my internet connection is a bit shoddy. Okay, so first thing you might want to do is modify the logo. That I just use a generic logo. So obviously, if you have your church's logo, you select logo, that space, and upload files. So I saved the files that I would need to create my forms in a specific folder beforehand, so it would be easy to access. Our folder's on my desktop, but you can save it anywhere. Just know where it's saved. And here I have the generic logo that I use. You select, open, and it appears. Now it's at the left corner of your screen. So I think logos always look better in the center. When you're modifying the logo, a menu automatically opens on your right. Whenever you're manipulating any feature on the form, there will be this menu on the right that just opens. So it allows you to play with the aesthetics and the positioning. So you would see alignment when you're dealing with photos on a form, and you just select where you want it to be. So it's center or right. I like center. And it saves it, just clicking close, saves it. You can also increase the width and the height of the logo by playing with the dimensions. So you just increase it by, say, 300, and you can determine how it would look. Ooh, sorry. Right, and well, obviously it's not going to be so big for you. My laptop's sticking a bit. Right, we'll just move on from there. Now, the text on the form is easy to change. You just simply move your cursor to whatever you want to edit, and it allows you to edit. So I am going to change the title of the form. So let's just say it's the name of the church is Holy Cross. So we put Holy Cross, and it changes. You put instructions as your subtitle. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to register for this camp, or you change camp to program, please complete all questions. So I built this form just asking for information that would be generally required on any registration form. And I have also made certain questions mandatory. For example, we all need to know the name of whoever's registering, right? So you would see an asterisk, a star, red star appear next to all questions that are mandatory. How you do this? Go to property. So at the end of each time you try to modify a question or a question on the form, you would see this thing that looks like a wheel, like a gear wheel. So that's what you click on to open up the left menu. And there's this, under the general tab, there's this option called required. So if you deselect required, turn it off, that question, you see the red star disappears. So that means when people are filling out the form, it's not a mandatory question, so they can leave it out. If you want a question to be made mandatory, be sure to go to the general tab and select required. And as I said, all required questions are highlighted by that red asterisk. So maybe now we can try building our own form. If you don't choose to use the one that was prepared beforehand. Let me just close off this. Right. So you just go back to the home page, which I'm trying to do right now. So by clicking on Jot Form, the logo of the website, it will automatically take you back to your home page. Okay, so let's create a new form. Simply click create. And obviously, you can use a template again, or you just from scratch. I've never used a card form, so I'm not going to speak on that. A classic form is what I usually use, so let's go with that. And there we have it, our empty form, and we have to add the questions for people to fill out. So obviously you start with your logo. This is how it would look before the logo is added. So add logo, and it opens up the right menu, upload file. There. We name our form. So and we type a subheader, which could just simply be instructions. Please complete all questions. Right, so now for our first question. On the left of the screen, you see this add form element. Select, and it leads you to, I would call it like the formatting for basic questions. So that's the first question obviously would be, what is your name? Right. And you can leave it as name, or you can just put in your own phrasing. And once again, we see the wheel and the recycle bin, the dustbin icon. So the dustbin icon obviously is to delete the question if you think it's not necessary. So the wheel gives us the option to make it a required question. And then you just continue adding. One question you might want to put in is something where people can select yes or no. So under the form elements basic, you can look for something like single choice, or if you want them to put in multiple answers, you can put multiple choice. Well, let's choose single choice. And the single choice question could be something like sex. So there are only two types of sexes, right? Male and female. So we have to remove all the other options. You simply put the cursor next to the option and a small X would appear, and you just exit all. You just remove it, X, and well, and then we change the wording to male, female. Another question could be address. So address is a pre-selected option under form elements. And it comes up, you don't really need to do much modification. However, you see state, province. We don't have states and provinces here. So you'd want to change that. And you can either just delete it and change it to village or county, well, whatever you want to change it to. We don't have zip codes, but we do have TT postcode, so you can change that as well. And of course, you modify. You can modify how the question is presented using the right menu. Right now, the form is really white and difficult to read. So to change that, there's a painter's tool on the right of the screen that you can use to change the color. So select and colors, and you just play around, and it's important to choose colors that complement each other so that the form would be easy to read. So I think everybody knows, but just in case you don't, font refers to the writing. And if you have a light background, a dark font is better to use. So I'm just showing you here the option to change font. Got page color, form color, font color, and that changes your font. Okay. So my laptop is a bit slow, so please excuse me. If you have a good device, it would change automatically. It would change quickly. Anyway, let's move on. I think it's frozen. Okay, I apologize. My laptop is frozen.
Okay, we're seeing your cursor moving on this end though.
Oh, you are? I'm not seeing anything. Did the font color change to black?
The text?
Yes.
No, it's a kind of a dark brown though.
Okay, well, as
It's
long
visible.
as it's easy to read, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get it to like not to close.
Press Control or Delete.
But I'll open my task manager.
Yes, and then you'll press cancel.
Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry about this.
That's okay. Just keep doing it until it comes up and
Yeah,
just,
it's up. It's asking me to end the entire meeting.
no, just press cancel. It's supposed to have cancel at the bottom. Nothing?
Nothing. It's just really slow. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm clicking end task for Google, so I'll just reopen the page when.
Okay.
Okay, it's closed.
While McKinney is opening back up, is everybody following? If you miss something, don't worry. We're streaming this to YouTube, so you could always go back and watch it. If you have any questions about something, let me check the chat. While she is starting back up, probably just quickly unmute your mic and ask the question concerning this particular session.
So no questions?
It's not, so let's keep it moving then.
Yeah, okay. I am trying to get back in. Oh.
So the form that was created, McKinney, it has things specifically for a VBS, right?
Yes, specifically, and there's even a sort of like contract that parents can sign on that form. Of course, churches can edit it and put in their own name, but it just says that they will ensure that their children behave respectfully during the session, that they will keep their cameras on and things like that.
Okay, good.
Yes. So should I continue or do we?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so let me share again. All right, so we're back to so this is how the my jot form home screen looks, because I've been making forms for different programs for Carrie. Let me go back to the template so I can show you how to publish your form online and set limits.
Restore your page, McKinney.
Sorry.
The box that has restore on it, yeah.
Okay, everybody's seeing, you're seeing now, right?
Yeah.
Great. All right, so we're just going to go back to templates I'm going to use that pre-created form. Zoom VBS. So I've reached the limit, and therefore I would need to upgrade. However, let's just I'll use a form that I would have created before, and we can just move from there. Okay, so the Zoom Easter camp form. Carrie, are you seeing the form on your end?
Not, it hasn't opened as yet, no.
I don't know what's going on with my laptop today. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Carrie, it looks like we're stuck.
We're stuck? Okay, that's fine.
No, I opened a new page. So let's just go again to form templates. So you all go form templates, Zoom VBS. Oh, wow. What is going on? Okay, I have no idea what's going on.
Okay, here's what. Let me jump in
Mhm.
and you can always come back on, all right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so Allison was asking if JotForm is easier than Google. We don't know if it's easier. That's just what we are familiar with. In terms of what we needed to do, for instance, with JotForm, Google Form could probably do this. I don't know, but we're able to set limits, set a deadline, and which is what she was planning to show you. Probably when she comes back on, she'll get into that.
Oh,
How you can
got
download.
it.
You got it? Go ahead.
Okay.
How you can download the participants and view the data and stuff like that. So we're showing you what we know. We're not saying one is better than the other.
Okay, so here's our form. Again. And we're trying to publish now, right? Oh my.
It's moving, so we're seeing it.
Yeah, I know it's moving, but it's on my end, it's so slow. The laptop is just doing its own thing. I'm not seeing the headers, the footers. Okay, Carrie, I think I'm just over to you. I'm out.
Okay, we'll come back. So we'll come back, probably shut down and start up. And when I'm done, then you could come back on and finish up.
Okay.
All right. Okay, sorry about that, everybody.
I can say something about the Google Forms.
Sure, please do. Please do.
Yes, it is actually almost the same thing. So far, I know I'm not an expert, but I see a lot of similarities. So
okay,
it's nice.
So the Google form is good, is a good alternative as well.
Yes, so far I saw. Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. But this is good. This is good too. I see this is very nice to use. So thank you very much.
No problem. All right. So let's go. I am going to be trying to manage two computers at the same time. We'll see how that works. Great. Okay, so most of you would have been a part of would have received the email with the Discovering Jesus material, right? Now, this is in preparation for either VBS or a 5-day club. So a lot of the things that you will see coming out of it in terms of how we teach memory verses and, doing the review for the Bible lesson, it might be a little specific. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a program now. While CEF has for their 5-day clubs, and we have our 5-day clubs and the VBS, the books that we have. I'm going to show you this one. There are programs or schedules in terms of how the program should flow. Now, keeping in mind that that is for face-to-face, you may need to make some adjustments, which is what we had to do for our camp. We had to switch the program up a little bit because it was online, all right? So I'm going to share that program now. All right, so we had the theme song and opening with our prayer and our word up. Now, a word up is just a catchphrase that would tie in. It's very thematic. It ties into the Bible lesson and whatever is happening during the course of the day. So for that particular day, our word up was Jesus is alive. Now, I'll just mention this. This was not how our program was when we started. But we ran a 3-day camp. And after day 1, we had to change the order in which things flowed. So we started with our prayer, giving the rules for the camp, reminding children of the rules for the camp, and then our word up, establishing the word up at that point. We did a song and we went immediately into the Bible lesson, right? We had about 54 children online. So that's a lot of kids to manage at the same time. Song and then our wonder time. I'm going to leave you all to kind of go into the book and see what is what. The wonder time is something, it reinforces the Bible lesson. And it's very easy to follow. Then we had our review game right at that point, while the information was fresh, while they were excited. And then we went into our memory work, our memory verse. Now, it's not here on this one, but normally we would have a break right after the memory verse. But okay, this particular program, it was omitted. We would have a break, a 15-minute break, right after the memory verse. And then, we would go back into it. Now you're seeing here kind of a divide. And that is when we had memory verses and we divided our class between the younger ones and the older ones. But what we realized, it was that a lot of the children, even though they were younger, they were able to say the full memory verse. So we didn't bother to break up the classes anymore. So you have to kind of see how, your class is running. or how do you know the VBS is running? And then you will see, okay, is it that, can they handle it? And a lot of the children, they were able to say the full memory verse. So we kept the class together. But in the case that you have really little ones and you want to separate your class, you simply do a breakout room, or you can have a separate time for them to do crafts. So what we did, okay, this is how this program is running. I'm now seeing it. After the review game, we kept the older ones, the younger ones in, sorry. Right, we kept the older ones in, as you could see. So 9 and under, they had their break time, and then we did the memory verse. We had craft. Everybody came back on. We had craft, and then we had the 9 and under doing their memory verse while the older ones went on their break. That is something that you can do, or you can just have one break time after the memory verse and send them in. Now, initially, we had our craft coming right back in. We had to switch that up, and we made the craft last. Why did we put the craft last? Because it was something that they anticipated. So it was easier. I will call it what, manipulation? Okay, maybe. It was easier to have them behave or to follow the rules when they had the incentive of the craft time coming at the end, right? And it's something, so we had to switch that up. If you're having something like a puppet show, a small puppet show in your program, recommend that you separate the period in which the craft and the puppet show comes in. So if you are doing, let's say you're having the puppet show, you could put the puppet show in the morning and let that be the very last thing in the morning before the break, right? You will see that they will, in anticipation of what is to come, they will be easier to follow rules. I want to be careful how I'm saying it. It'll be easier for them to follow rules. And the same thing in the evening with the craft. All right. So I'm just going to move on from that quickly. All right. So this is for, can you all see the full screen? Just somebody answer me.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of the ways that you could create a review game using PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you, and then we're going to do it. So if you have your PowerPoint open, good. If you don't, you might want to open it up now, and then let's see if we could follow. So this is one with a timer. And the question is there, and let's say we're giving 30 seconds. So we ask the question, what was the name of the group of religious leaders who thought God was happy with them for following the rules? Okay, so we saw what happened. So we basically would give, you can give 30 seconds. That was 30 seconds that was allowed for a child to raise their hand or give the answer, right, for that particular question. So let's build it. All right, so you're gonna have to see my screen like this, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to manipulate it. Trying to cover up all my business. Okay, good, let's go. So you all have your PowerPoint presentation open, right? So let's go. We're going to go firstly into insert. Well, select. You're going to select a slide or open up a slide, and preferably a blank one. We're going into insert, go to shape, and you select rectangle and just drag. So I'm going to put it in the center, and you can click on drawing tools. And I'm going to make it narrow. The length could stay, but I'm going to make this narrow. All right, good. So I want another one identical to that, and we'll see why. So instead of drawing out another one, I'm just going to copy and paste. So we have two, okay? So we're going to deal with one of them. And let's deal with this one right here. Going back into drawing tools. And let's do select Pane and just name them. So rectangle 1, I'm going to name it, not you, not there. My time bar. And rectangle 2, I'm going to name it wrong place again. All right, transparent bar. Okay, good. So we're going back to the time bar. Format. And I'm going to fill it red. Okay. The transparent bar, go back into format. And the first thing we'll do, let's put a border on it. So click on outline shape, or yes, shape outline. I'll select 3 points. You give it whatever size you want. And I'm going to make this black. Now for the shape filler, you are still on the transparent bar. Go to shape fill, click on it, and click no fill. So just to test it, I'm going to drag. And you see how it looks? So we're seeing the red bar underneath. Now the reason for that is, because of what we plan to do, we want the outline of the bar to remain, okay? Let me just drag this here a little bit. So next, I want you to highlight your time bar and go into animations. Okay. And then we're going to go to wipe. You're going to go to exit and then go to wipe. Now you saw what happened, right? The color disappeared. So hold down that again, highlight it again, go back into animation, and then select effect options. So you're seeing there that will determine which direction the color is wiped from. So I would like it to be wiped from the right side. And when I click on this, see what happens. All right, so the color is wiped from the right to the left. We're gonna go again, back on that same bar. And what we want to do is to determine the time, how long it takes. So this is where your timing is set, or how long it takes for the color to wipe, go from red to clear. Let me click on time bar. Okay. Good. All right. So I'm gonna go back here. Oh, before I do that, sorry. Now, in order for that not to happen one time, you want something to trigger it. So it's highlighted, we have the direction, we have the animation. Go to trigger. No, we leave trigger alone, leave trigger alone. Right, go here and you'll see start, make sure that it says click on, meaning that once you click anywhere on the page, right? Once you click anywhere on the page, it's going to start. So what will happen then is, as soon as you get onto the page, it's not going to start immediately. So you can have the time to read the question and then click on the page and the 30 seconds would start. Then you have duration. So you're gonna set this to 30 seconds. All right.
Excuse me.
Hi.
Yeah, can I write it on?
Yeah, you can. But this will be on YouTube as well. So you can always go back and check it, right? So I'm going to go back. My bar is highlighted, the time bar is highlighted. I'm in animation. You're going to select, I'm just going to walk through it quickly. You're going to select the drop down bar and you're going to go down to exit. Click on wipe. Then you go to effect options. That is right here. You click on the drop down bar and then you select the direction you want it to go from. I selected from right.
Can you repeat that again?
I selected from right. So after you select wipe, you go to effect options, which is on the right-hand side of the animation bar. And select from right. You then go further right on the screen and you'll see start. Make sure it's set to click on, meaning that once you click anywhere on your page, that's when it will trigger the animation. Right, and we want. I think this is 30 seconds. Let me open the animation pane so I could see. No, that's too short. Hi.
Yeah, so it's drop down bar, click on right again.
Okay, I don't even know where you are. But here's what you're gonna be able to, I'm gonna send you the link so you could go over it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want you to focus too much on writing, just kind of watch. Okay, so I just set it to 30 seconds. So let's see. All right. So you see that it is gradually disappearing. Now you're seeing the importance of this particular bar here. So I'm going to set this over, lay it over, and make sure that it fits perfectly over. And now I'm going to play. So because I have this, the frame for it, you can actually see it going, disappearing, right? Okay, so let's move on. We're going to go to insert, go to pictures, online pictures, or you could save, you could find your pictures beforehand and have it in a file. But I'm just going to do it from the internet. And I'm going to search for alarm clocks. Selected the same one I used before. And there it is. Minimize it. And I'm going to place it right here, just a little way over the bar. And now we're going to add an animation to the alarm clock. So go back into animations, make sure that the clock is highlighted, go back into animations,
Okay.
click the drop down bar, and we're going to emphasis, right? So you can choose pulsate, anything that you want. The one that I use was theta. Oh boy. Okay. So in my animation bar, in the animation pane on this side, and let me just show you how you can get that. When you click on animations to the top here, you'll see animation pane. Once you click it, it'll show up here. So you could do some manipulation from the sideline. Everybody following me? Anybody lost? Totally lost?
Yes, I'm following you.
Okay,
Following,
lovely.
following.
Yeah,
Okay.
following.
Good. So the clock is highlighted, right? So the next thing we're going to do, you're going to set, if you notice, sometimes these animations, they're very brief. They just shake once. So oh, what is that happening? So we want to see it happen a number of times. So I'm going to go to effect options, timing, and you see here repeat. Click on that and you can set it to repeat either 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to set it for 3 times. Okay, so instead of just teetering once, it will teeter 3 times, you know, and that has a nice effect right there. We're still on our clock. How do we get the alarm sound? Going back in, let me see if I can do it from here. Animation delay. Yeah, no, let me do it from this side. Okay, let me get it from here. Going back to effect options. Where are you? And we're going to click start after previous. Now, what will happen is as soon as, remember we set an initial animation, which was the the wipe, right? Wiping the color wipe from right to left. So we don't want to have to click again to get the alarm to go off because that is timed. So what you can do, you can set it so that as soon as the first animation is up, which is the wipe, that the tethering will start immediately, right? So you're gonna, when you click on, make sure that the object is highlighted that you want to animate always, and that the correct one is highlighted. So the clock is highlighted and I'm back here and I'm going to click on start after previous. All right, so let's take a look at how it will play out. Play from. So all this will be the time that we'll be taking answers. So you realize that as soon as the wipe was done, the clock started to shake. We're going to add a sound. We're going back, highlight picture, effect options, and in effect, you're seeing sound. Click on that and you can select which sound you want. Now these are, sounds that are already built into PowerPoint. And that's what I use. Some people download their own sounds. You can do that. I have chosen not to. So let me see. Okay. How does that sound? How are we going so far?
Great.
Okay, good. And the rest is basically easy. You just, in order to get your question in, going to insert, click on text box. And you're going to type in your question. Let's just make this easy. Make sure that your font is large enough. What is the first book of the Bible? Right, so this is our question. I'm going to center it. Okay, so we want to have only our question up, and then when they've given the answer, right or wrong, for the correct answer to show up. In order for that to happen, make sure you have two separate text boxes, one for your answer and one for the question and one for the answer. So you're going back into insert, have your text box ready. And in order to get this done, we're simply going to add an animation. So make sure your answer is highlighted. And if you want to make your life easy, in case you need to go back and edit this, you can rename every single box that you set up. All right. So box 5, you can go in your selection pane and name it answer 1. So you could do question 1 and answer 1. Anyway, make sure it's highlighted, go into animation, and the animation that you're going to select will be one for entrance, right? And you can do appear, you can do fly in, all right? You can do turn and grow. So let's make it fancy. Let's do a turn and grow animation. Highlight it again. And we want something to trigger it because we don't want it to come up automatic. Go back into animation. And right, make sure that it's set to click on. So let's see what this is all about. Okay, so our question, what is the first book of the Bible? I'm going to click on it. Click on my slide. Anybody wants to answer?
Genesis. Genesis.
Very good. Excellent. So we have points for Cavell. I think we have a point for Gina as well. Good job, guys. 5 points each. All right, so you can stop it. If they've said it, you can stop it, but we're just going to let it run through. And then it comes up. All right, now let me do that.
Excuse me, it does appear like 30 seconds is a lot for most questions. Do you think so?
Well, I'm just using 30 seconds. You could set it to whatever time you choose. Right? You could set it to whatever time you choose.
Okay.
So,
Because I'm guessing you're not going to have, and it seems like a lot now, but when you're actually playing in terms of by the time they raise their hand, you select a kid.
so if you want to answer 10 seconds, that's okay?
Yeah, the timing is up to you. We're just using this.
Okay.
Right? So let's go. If a child would have answered the question before the 30 seconds is up, so I'm going to start it again, right, as Cavell and they did, and I want to stop the timer. All I have to do is click on it. It's going to end and the answer will come up, right? So you don't actually have to wait for the full 30 seconds. If a child answers before, as they did, once you click on your screen, it's going to end that animation and trigger the next one automatically. Any questions before we move on? Okay, good. So this is one for a memory verse game, well, review game, and it's called What's Missing, where you would have reviewed your memory verse, done your introduction and everything. So the kids are familiar with it. And you want now to get them into a fun way of doing some repetitions. So you would have them first, everybody, read the correct one and make sure you highlight which is the correct one. Excuse me, and which is the incorrect one. Now, we have the correct one, John 3:16, the memory verse is there. They are now to find what word is missing. Can anybody tell me?
Whosoever.
Very good, Sharon. Whosoever. And there it shows up, right? So that's a nice, fun way. So for each time, you're going to have to create, for each round, you're going to have this repeated. So if you want 7 repetitions, you're going to have 7 slides, each with a word missing.
Excuse me.
Hi.
could I see how it showed up again? I was writing the
Okay,
whosoever.
all right. It just popped up. That's the animation that I put, but you can choose whichever one, right? You want. So
I missed
you missed. Don't worry,
I
I'll
did.
show you. I'll show you. Okay, so we're going to build this one now. You're going to open a slide. You're going to go to insert, new slide, and you're going to choose the comparison slide, right? Which is this one right here. What's going on with you? Good. You type in the heading of your game. What's missing? And to the top here, you make sure you have the, let me just center everything. Okay, so correct, incorrect. So what do we put in the first box? The correct memory verse, right?
Yes.
Right. Now, when we teach our memory verses, we start and begin with the address. So John, I don't need a bullet. 3:16. For time's sake, we're just going to do the first part, which is A. For God. For God so loved the world. Okay. I'm just going to copy the correct one and paste it over here. Don't start sticking, please. All right. Now you can edit your text box. Highlight it, bring it up a little bit. I don't need all this space, and I kind of need some space to the bottom. Okay. No, not that. All right, good. So the word that we want to remove is so. You could delete it or you could just cut it out. I'm going to cut it out. Go to insert. You're going to draw another text box at the bottom right here. And you're going to add the word that you just removed. I prefer to do it that way, right? I prefer to cut the word each time so that I don't make a mistake. I just cut it and I just kind of transplant it somewhere else. If you want to put a border around it, go into format, outline, choose the thickness of the border, And then we're going to add an animation. So highlight it, go to animation, and we want to choose an entrance. So the entrance that I had was pretty basic, which is up here. Let's do bounce. You can choose anyone that you wish. And let's see how that would look. Okay, what's missing? Once the child identifies, or whoever identifies the missing word, click on it and the word shows up. Any questions? Any suggestions? I know there must be at least one person who might know. Anybody has anything that they could probably suggest that would make it a little more fun?
But if like can't remember the words, how you could work that out.
If the child cannot remember the word, then we have to tell them. So
Okay.
if nobody figured out the missing word, then that's at that point we give it to them and we move on. But the goal is you make sure that they say the correct verse first.
Yes.
Always have everybody say the correct verse first, the address and everything, say the verse. And after that, then they're going to look at the incorrect verse. That's why it should always be labeled. Then they're going to look at the incorrect verse and see. Now, if you have a younger class and you probably want to put a dash in to make it easier, you can do that as well to make it easy.
Yes.
But if you have a bigger class and you want to make it a little more interesting, you really don't need it. Any questions? No? Okay. So let's move on. Okay, so who am I gonna call on? Sister Kentish, choose a number. Sister Kentish?
Number seven.
Number 7. Okay. So what that means is under each box, I have, a group. And when I click on the box, the group who will stand and recite the memory verse will appear. Okay, so I saw Shelly-Ann, choose a number. Or Sherry.
5.
5? Right, so when I click on 5, the girls. Cavell, choose a number.
1.
Gina, choose a number.
9.
Oh, you always, okay, I'll just click the rest. Okay, so under each of these.
That's interesting.
All right, and I color coded them as well. So it's really pretty, it's fun. And so let's build this, all right? I'm going to insert a blank slide. Please don't start sticking. Right here. Okay, great. Now, and then we're going to start by inserting our shape. So it's a rectangle, but I'm going to make them into squares. Highlight, going to drawing format. And then you're going to set the size. I'm going to do 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. Okay, so I had 9 squares. So I'm going to copy 9 squares at the bottom, sorry. And I'm just going to paste until I have all 9 squares and set them up. Okay. So these are for my groups. Now in large groups, when you have a mixed class with boys and girls, it's make sure everything is lined up neatly. The easiest thing to do is to divide your class into boys and girls, into those 2 teams, right? And for this particular one, it's good to label your shapes. So here, I did one thing wrong, and I'll tell you all what that is in a little bit. Size, let me get color. Yeah. All right. I want a deeper blue, but I'm going to leave it as that for now. The thing that I did wrong was I did not format my text first. So now I'm going to have to go back and format every time I write, put in text into the boxes, I'm going to format it. I'm going to have to format it. Well, so I'm just going to delete these because bear with me. All right. So here's what we don't need to do all 9. We'll do 3. It's just for demonstration. All right. So format your text first, the size and the font and everything, and then copy and paste the shape. And all you'll have to do is just go in afterwards and change the text, as opposed to formatting every single text box. Oops.
Gotcha.
Girl. All right, good. So to get the color changed, highlight your box and highlight your box. And then you're going into drawing tools again, shape fill, and I want a deep blue for this, for the boys. For all, highlight your box, go back again into drawing tools, shape fill, and I'm gonna go back to a yellow. Let me do it a little deeper. Good. And for girls, let's give them a nice pink. All right. So we start with that. We do these first. And as you go along, it's important to label your boxes. So we have rectangle highlighted, go into the selection pane, and I'm just going to Make it simple. Boys 1, all 1, and then I'm going to do girls 1. And as you add more, you just name it, you know, what's underneath and the number, and that's it. So that if you have to do any animations or anything like that, it will be easy for you to just go into the selection pane when you highlight it and specify what you want what to do. Okay. So we're going back into insert. We're going to make our covers now. And it's going to be the same size as our group boxes. 4 centimeters. What are you doing? 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. Right. Great. Click on format. We're going to add a nice border. Shape outline. You can give it any color you wish. I'm gonna stick with black. And a shape fill. Green. The font and the color and 1. And then I'm going to copy and paste. Good. Let me just change the numbers. Now you can place the numbers on first, or you can do your animations, right? So I like to do my animations and then lay them on so that I won't make any errors. So highlight the box, go into animations, and we want it to disappear. We want that when we click on the box, that box disappears to reveal what is under. Make sure I have no questions. All right. Exit, we go to exit and then click on disappear. All right, go back. Now this one, we don't want to just click on the page because what will happen? Anyone will come up, right? So what we will do is go back into animation, and we're going to go into trigger. Click on trigger, click. Okay, so this is the importance of labeling it. Now I know which one it is. It's 12 because it's highlighted here. So let's label that first. Cover 1, make life easy. Cover 2, and cover 3. Okay, so back at it again. We've already added the animation, which is to disappear. We want a trigger. So you're going to the right, click on trigger, click on, and you click on cover 1. So what will happen is when we click on this box, it will disappear. And we're going to do that for the rest. Highlight the box, go into animation, drop down to disappear, highlight disappear, click on it, go over to trigger, which is right on the right side. Well, my right anyway. click on of, and then you click on cover 2. Let's do this again. Animation. We're going to exit, click on disappear, highlight it again, go to trigger, and cover 3. And we're just going to lay that on right there. Okay. We want to get the verse at the side. So go back into text box, insert text box, and you place your memory verse at the side. But you want your memory verse to stand out. So once your text box is highlighted, go into format, add a border, and you can fill the shape using the same color, different color, doesn't really matter. It's up to you. All right. What is this? Good. And type in your verse. Uh-oh. Okay, people. For God so loved the world, we're just gonna do A. Can center it. Okay. I'm gonna change this font to white so that everything will just kind of look uniformed. Good. Was that easy to follow? Hello?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Ish.
Yes,
Ish.
it was.
Well, the person
it
who said
was.
ish, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can go back and check it out. Pause and play and pause and play, all right?
Okay, thanks.
So let's do, let's just see how it looked, what we're doing here. So when you ask somebody to choose a number, I'm going to choose number 3. Once you click on number 3, it's supposed to disappear. And girls, so the girls would stand and say their memory verse, repeat their memory verse. So it's an excellent tool that will be fun because they don't know who is going to come up next. It will keep them interested because they see the boxes disappearing and, just outside of the norm, just repeat after me, say the memory verse over and over and over again, so it's a nice, fun way to make memory verse learning into a game where, they stay interested.
Excuse me.
Hi.
Yes. So you put in 3 boxes instead of 9 boxes.
You could put any amount you want, right? Now I showed you it.
So it come from boys, all and girls. It come from 3 categories.
But but in order for you to have them repeated multiple times, you should use more boxes. I only use 3 because for demonstration purposes and for us to kind of move things along, right? But it really was, if you notice in this one, I have 9.
Yeah.
Right? So while everybody will be saying the memory verse together, so you're actually getting 9 repetitions. They would be saying it, over 9 times.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
All right, no problem. How many of you in your Zoom packages you have a paid subscription? Now, this is what I'm going to tell you about because we're kind of running late, and I want Gina, you could get ready to come on in a bit. What you can do is another way you can do review questions in Zoom would be to do the poll. Now, once you have a paid package, you would have to preset your, let me see if I can do this. You would have to preset, let me end share. You would have to preset your meeting and set your questions there, right? Now, when you launch your poll, everybody will see the questions coming up on the screen and they can select an answer. So in that case, you'll have to make your questions, your review questions, multiple choice. Let me see if I have this up. All right, and this, you have to make it multiple choice. So let me just do this quickly. All right. So this is, this is a recurring meeting that is already set. I'm just gonna see if I could show you quickly. You'll have to go to into account management, right? So, and you won't be able to do it through the app. You're going to have to do it through the Zoom web browser. So you're going to have to log in and do it through the web browser. I think you need to, let me just double check. Right. Go into account management and then account settings. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going into account management and account settings. All right. And let me see. Okay, let me see if I could scroll down to the meetings tab. All right, schedule a meeting. We're going to go to we're looking for meeting. Okay, feedback display. Good. So under meeting basic, you scroll down. Now the account would have to be yours. And you see here meeting polls. You have to turn that on. Right, so enable it. Good. And then in those meetings, it's going to allow you to now go in and to create a poll. Now, each question is a poll in and of itself. So if you have 10 questions, you're going to create, I think you could create up to 10 polls within that session. You put in your questions, your answers. Let me see if I can do it in this one. because I had one already. Okay. All right, this one wasn't preset. Okay. Well, that's just another idea. I don't want to go too deep into this. Gina, you ready?
Hi, yes, I am.
Okay, all right. So that is just another way that you can use to do your review questions. So outside of, yes, you'll be able to see the video again. It's on YouTube, so you can check our website. If you look in the chat, Nicolette would have put in the link. Nicolette, you could post it again, the link for the YouTube video. It's actually streaming live now, and it'll be there for replay. Good. Go ahead, Gina.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me? Yes.
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 I think you're muted again, Gina.
Hey, sorry about that. So sorry. Okay, so today, my name is Gina, and we're gonna do craft today. We're going to do the story of Lazarus. So that means, okay, let me get my other. Whew. All right.
Yes, sideways, right?
I am sideways. Oh, where's the sideways? Aha. Okay. It's fixing. How do I switch? Switch.
Nice.
No, I'm trying to get the other view. So, it was working so much better earlier. I'm so sorry. This way. There we go. Wow. Sorry about that. Okay. Right. Now,
The camera is off, Gina.
yeah.
Yeah.
You see it now? Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so I'm using my phone. Oops, and my computer. So y'all could see me and what I'm doing. I was so ready and then, all right, that's okay. Things happen. So that's the first rule. Things happen and try not to get flustered. Right? So you can see my hands, right?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yeah,
Okay.
teacher.
So we're doing, right. So we're doing the Lazarus craft.
Everyone,
And we would have talked about it in camp. We would have talked about it in a lesson. So now it's craft time. So what we're gonna need for the craft, we have to make a tomb. We have to have a dark hole for the tomb. We have to have a stone, and of course, Lazarus. The thing is, sometimes you may not have everything that you need. For example, I wanted a man with very little on, but I wanted him to have a face. I could not find that online. Sometimes you may be looking for things and you just can't find it. So I just drew this little man and cut him out. I stuck him on a piece of cardstock. So he's a little firm, you know, he's not flimsy like paper. And I cut him out, so he's gonna be my last piece. If you could find whatever you need online, you could print it, size it to whatever size you want, and stick it on something hard, cut it out and use it, right? If you can't find a tomb, I couldn't find a decent looking tomb either. So what I did was I drew something. So you could just draw any little old thing, you put some lines, because you know, it's a rock. And you
That's
just
the
draw some
camera
lines.
thing I was talking about when you're using your phone.
Right.
When you're using it.
So we just draw some lines because it's a rock. And then we can use a black marker to just highlight. This is for if you cannot find what you need online. Or if you have somebody in your church or, you know, somebody that you know who you think can draw well enough, they could, you can ask them to draw these things for you. So you just trace it out. And if you will have several people in your camp. So therefore you're gonna need several copies of this. So when you draw one or you print one, you can print for as many as you need. If you are drawing, you can draw and then copy it for as many people as you need. And then when you cut this out, you will get something like this. This is construction paper. So it's not as thin as paper, but it's not as thick as cardstock, right? I use brown because of, well, rock, you know, the earth is brown. Why is it sideways? Hold on. Hey, is that better, everybody?
Okay. So Gina, I have a question. So I'm just going to take the question one time, right?
Yes.
The question is, do you tell children ahead of time to get the materials or you provide the templates for them to collect?
Right. So if you know all the children and you could reach everyone, you can provide all the materials. So you can do this, draw it out, copy it, and actually cut it out. And you can provide all the materials and drop it off for them because we are, well, it's Zoom. So it's not going to be everybody's coming in to meet. So you can go and have it delivered to them. If you cannot do that, for example, if you have people from another country who will be joining your camp, you can actually email a list to them or WhatsApp it to them and tell them what they need, what type of material, what color, and you can also send them images. If you already have images that you've collected, for example, even if you draw this, you can take a picture of it, put it on probably Word or any program of your choice, and you could email this specific thing that you created for them so they can have this exact same thing for camp. So everyone will have the same thing. If you don't do that, if you can't do that, that's fine. And you could just email whatever image you have already selected so that they will print it and you would have already arranged it to size and tell them. And of course you would leave them with instructions. This is to be printed on green paper. This is, for example, if you don't want them to color it, because this could be colored. If you don't want them to color it to save time, you can tell them this is to be printed on brown paper. If they don't have access to brown paper, you can say, or orange. You know, any kind of similar color, you can ask them to do that. So if you have older children and you know they're not going to take a long time, you can actually tell them, okay, everyone, now it's time for coloring, and they will spend time during your craft time coloring their shape. And then inside here would be black. This is brown, by the way. It looks dark, but it's brown. And you will color inside because this is inside the tomb. It's going to be black, right? Good. So you have that. If you do not want to use a man from the internet, I'm trying to keep this very short. You can have your questions. Feel free to ask any question. If you don't want to use a paper man, you can make a stick man. Why would you want to make a stick man? Because it's more hands-on and it's funner. That's probably not a word, but it's more fun. You know, I use these palette sticks, the fat ones, and I cut it. You can cut it, you'll have to measure your hole and, you know, whatever size you want your stuff to be, because everything should be, if you want, according to size. So you could measure how tall you want everything, and you just have them create, and you could even cut pieces and send the pieces. So all they have to do is just glue everything together. If there's anything to do with gluing, you might want to give them that to do first in order to give the glue time to dry. So if I was doing this and I said, okay, we're going to make Lazarus, then I would leave this for after, and I would say, okay, everyone, get your pieces together. And then everybody would get all the pieces that we cut up and we sent in the package. And we would label everything, and they would put your glue. Okay, everybody, put your glue, draw your face. We could have them draw their face, or we could draw a face for them, or just print a face and stick your face on. And okay, you could color him now if you want to do that. And then, okay, very gently, we're going to rest it aside, let that dry. And now get your paper, what is this? A tomb, get your tomb and take out your pencils and let's color. So while that is drying on the side, they would be coloring, and you'll encourage them to color quickly because remember, we are on camp time. Color quickly, okay, y'all are doing well, and you know, they'll want to see you. So you chat with them, ask them, you know, if they like the coloring, and they'll be like, Miss, that's nice. And you know, so you also would need some moderators while you are doing what you're doing, because children, as you all know, they're very chatty, and you know, it's really nice to encourage them, but it could take up a lot of time. So we also would need to do our stone, which would be the same thing. You take your paper, you draw a shape, make sure it covers the hole, cut it out, put some lines, and you have your stone. If you're doing it in white, you just have them color it in brown, so that will be part of the coloring while Mr. Lazarus is drying on the side. And then, if you want to jazz it up even more, you could do some bushes. So it's just some squiggly lines. You can either do it white and have them color it, or you could ask them to print it out. You can draw it again and make copies and ask them to print it out on green paper and then cut it out, and that will be used on your piece. So while that is drying, we would have cut out they would have already cut it out. They would have colored their shapes, and if they are not coloring their shapes and you've asked them to do this instead, to print it on colored paper, then we would ask them to take a plain sheet of paper, take our tomb, and what we want to do is put Mr. Lazarus inside the tomb. So I'm going to cut my tomb And you will ask them, okay, everyone, take your scissors. And if you need help from any adult, we're going to cut out our tomb. Take your time, and you encourage them to take their time and make sure and cut on the line. And we have our tomb cut out. The hole, sorry. So this is our hole here. And we have to measure, make sure it's, well, we would have prepared it from before so we know that it is covering. What we're going to do is stick the tomb onto the paper. We can do this two ways. We can use this piece as is and just have Lazarus here, or we can put Lazarus inside. If we're putting Lazarus inside, then this isn't necessary. We can just take a black piece of cardstock. Now remember, we would have already asked, we would have either asked them to purchase the materials or we would have supplied it. So we just tell them, okay, now boys and girls, take your black piece of cardstock, and it would have already been prepared for them. So they would not have any cutting to do. All they would have to do is take their piece of cardstock and stick it behind Mr. Lazarus, the tomb. So I did not cut mine. Let me just cut out a piece quickly. I'm just measuring, eyeballing. Right. There we go. So you would have already measured for them and supplied them with their size of the background. Right. So what we have to do now, we're going to stick this piece to our white paper. So they would take their glue out. Okay, everybody, boys and girls, we're going to put glue on the edges only, just a thin line of glue. Make sure your glue is open. A thin line of glue on the edges of your black cardstock. Now, children's hands are very heavy, so you have to be very specific how you, with the instructions that you give them. And you're pulling your hand very quickly. So you're running a thin line of glue, because if they put too much, it's gonna squish out all over, and we don't want that. And you're just gonna press down and make sure that everything is stuck. And then some of them might say, but miss, my glue messing up the page. That's okay, we can wipe it. You know, we just gently encourage them and let them know that it's okay. It's just fine, it's gonna look great, don't worry about it. And then we're gonna stick this over it, but we are only sticking the edges because we want the rest of here to be open. Right. So what we're gonna do, boys and girls, you're gonna turn your tomb, turn it around on the wrong side, and you're going to stick on the outside. So you're gonna put on the bottom, put some glue on the bottom. Nice thin line on the outside edge. And sometimes they speak when you are speaking, so you have to get their attention and make sure that they're looking while you are doing it. So you're not going to put any glue on the inside here. Otherwise, Lazarus cannot get inside, right? And then we put it over our black piece and we stick him down. And then they would see you doing it because they would be watching the screen. There would be times where they might be talking, and then there would be times when they are very, very quiet because everybody's hands are moving and they're concentrating really hard. And you can use those moments, those opportunities to just give any extra little instructions that you need to give them. Right. So that is stuck down. So you can see that we have space inside. Now for the bush, we have 2 bushes, which they would have either colored or have it printed already like this. We're going to stick one on the end. It can go off, and you have to let them know, because children like to be, they're very exact. So they might want to stick it exactly in the middle. You could tell them it can go off, just off the page, because remember, it would have stones and other stuff here. So we're going to turn it around, and we're going to put some glue on about half of our bush. Just like that. And you see just a little bit. We don't need much. And you show them just a little bit on half, and then we stick our bush down. Actually, we could put it on all. And it's okay if you make a mistake too. You could laugh about it, and you can show them, you see, we make mistakes too. And it's okay. It's really okay. And children, they don't really notice these things. So, you know, you might feel a bit flustered, and then you have to give them instructions. Make sure that it's covering the bottom. Don't let it go up too much. Make sure it's covering the bottom of your tube. Now, we can stick the other side. We're going to do the same thing. Put glue all over, but not big blobs of glue. Just gently squeeze your bottle so it looks something like this. And then we stick it down on this side. Then we have our tomb. Now you can use a brad, which I was not able to get. A brad is it's like a little ball, and then there are 2 metal, let me draw it. So it's like a little ball, and then there are 2 metal things coming out of it. Y'all know what I mean? They're usually probably gold or silver. And when they come in the container, it's the 2 metal things are like this, stuck together. So what you can do is punch a hole through your rock and punch a hole through the, what is this? The tomb. And then you take your brad and you stick it through, go straight through the page. So you'll see a nice little gold ball on top here. And in the back of it, it's out. And that way it will stay right there, and this will be able to swirl back and forth. Everybody understand? I wasn't able to get one.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. But it's like, right, so it's a thumbtack, but it's not thumbtack. It actually has the 2 metal parts below, and it spreads apart, so it doesn't come loose. And you can also include that in your package, and the children you would already have punched your holes for them. So all they have to do is line up the holes and stick it through, and they will be fine. We've did before, and it really, right. So now let's get Mr. Lazarus. So for those who use if you all decide to use palette stick, he should be dry by now. So you just get him and you ask them to take a paper napkin, just a regular cheapy paper napkin, and you ask them, and all this could be drying time as well. You're going to hold it and strip your napkin in strips. And this is your cloth that you're going to wrap Lazarus in. So we're just going to rip that down. And you do it with them. Some of them may not know how to do it properly. So you just guide them. Okay, you're holding it close together, and you show them, and you hold and rip, hold and rip, hold and rip. Sometimes they may need very specific instructions like that. And sometimes they just be like, rip it down, just, but we want them to try and get it as neat as possible because it would be easier for them to use. Right. So now that we have our pieces, we are going to wrap Lazarus. So we're going to wrap him from head to toe. So what you can do, he's supposed to be unwrapped when he comes out. So we're not going to ask them to stick it. You can tell them to just hold it with their thumb and make sure everybody's holding it, and you can ask them to show you. So you're looking at this and say, okay, everybody show me how you're holding. Good. And then we go around. And if mommy and daddy is around, or auntie or granny or anybody, if you're having trouble, you can ask them to help you hold it, and somebody wrap and somebody hold. And we're wrapping Lazarus. And by the time you wrap here, you can let go. So because he's so small, I just need 2 pieces, which is great. So they will not destroy mommy's napkins. And you wrap him, wrap him, wrap him. And then we can slide him in. Okay, everybody, once you finish wrap, show me. And you ask them to show you how they wrapped him. And then they can lift and just slide him in the tomb and tuck him in. And then we have to roll the stone. Now, if, for example, somebody may have lost their brad, because, you know, children, they get into things and it's small and they could lose it, they could just put a piece of tape or even glue it. So let's glue ours, because I don't have my brad. So I'm putting my dots and I just put my glue right there, and it's covering the hole. And if you have a special scripture that you would have selected for your camp on that day, you could probably ask them to put it here, which you would have already put in your package, or here or on top of the page, you know, anything. It's your camp and it's however you want. And then for those who have the brad, they will rotate it and slide him out. For me, I could fold back and take him out and then unwrap him. And they could always wrap and unwrap, and it's interactive, so they could play with it and put whatever they want inside there. You know how children are, you know, but it's more interactive by allowing them to tuck stuff under. So yeah, that's basically it. So yes, you will tell them exactly what they need: color pencils, crayons, markers, scissors, every tiny bit, glue, whatever it is you know that you're going to use, you do that. You put it in the list. And it helps if you prepare your craft from before. And that way, if you actually do it, I mean, you should do your craft beforehand, because you would see some issues that might come up that you wouldn't have found otherwise. And you might think, oh, so if I do this, then I would need to get this instead, or this as well. So usually I would have to do my crafts before, so that, and then you also get ideas when you do it yourself. You know what I mean? So I encourage you to do whatever crafts you're planning for your camp, do them yourselves before, and it will help you to be more prepared. And I have to tell you that things always happen. So don't get flustered and be prepared for what ifs. What if somebody doesn't have a brad? What can they use instead? So, you know, you try to think of, okay, well, if they don't have that, maybe they could use tape, and they'll just tape the outside edge. You know, I did a camp with Carrie, and somebody didn't have a circle. So I told them to spread their hands and draw around their hand and join it up, and they made a circle. So, you know, just try and think of different things that could happen and what they could use instead of, you know. So that's basically it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yes, that's very innovative. Thank you. What I want to know is how you set up the camera.
Oh, my camera. Okay. What to do this, boy?
Unmute.
Okay.
Gina, unmute the one that your face is on and mute the other one.
Right. You can hear me?
No, you need to
You can hear me?
unmute. Right, that's the one. Good, you're good now.
Right. So this is, can you see? This here is a phone arm. I purchased this online. It attaches to my table here. Oops. Right? However, if you don't have this, I actually used before, I used a, whoosh, I'm trying, hold on. Let me switch.
In addition to muting the one that you're showing the craft on, I think you have to take down the volume on that device.
No,
Because
even if it's on, she will get the feedback. She has to actually disconnect the audio off of one.
Okay, yeah, because you're getting a feedback actually.
We can't hear you, Jean. We can't hear you, Gina. You have to unmute yourself.
Normally, though, when
Y'all
I'm
can hear me now?
yeah, when I'm doing
Right.
two devices, I will take the volume down on one, yeah, but the audio.
Yes, that's what I did. But when I'm using the computer and I turn down the volume on the phone, it still echoes. But if I do it reverse, it works better.
You're good. Go ahead.
Right. So if I don't have this arm, which I did not have before, I actually use a selfie stick, which was gifted. If you have one, if you can purchase one, I think it would be cheaper. I use a selfie stick. I stuck it in a vase and I filled the vase with rice or stones, which was easier at the time. So I attached the phone to the selfie stick because that's what it's for. And that works really, really well as well.
But you have to attach the phone to the computer.
No,
For the
to the
picture.
selfie stick. Because
So
I
how
didn't have this arm. I didn't have this arm before.
But how
which
does
is
the
a-
picture transfer from the phone to
What's
you?
that?
You have to
I'm trying
sign
to
into Zoom. You have to sign into Zoom with your
Yes,
phone.
both are signed into Zoom.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay,
Any
so
more questions?
Gina, you were talking about the camp that we did for CEFTT. That's in Easter, right? Now, one of the things that we did, we prepackaged our craft items, right? We prepackaged all our craft items so you could kind of talk about, in terms of if you're doing like a 5-day club or VBS, how to go about doing your packaging for your craft. I'll just now, let me put on the camera. So we didn't use liquid glue, we used stick glue. So we put one of these in the packages. So it was for the day one, right, Gina?
Yes, it was.
Right. So we put
and
this
we
in.
use glue stick because it dries faster. It takes less time than waiting for your liquid glue to dry.
Good. So we put a glue stick in each package. So this is how we did it. And I'll just go through this. If anybody has any questions, you have the opportunity to ask as well. But what we did, we had 53 children throughout Trinidad and Tobago. So and it was a 3-day camp. I am not going to do the math. You all will do it yourself. We had 53 by 3 bags, right? So we had each We had our labels. Each bag was labeled.
day.
Each day was labeled. Okay, so so we prepared 53 day one bags with the craft for day one. We actually, in each bag, we put a snack in the bag. So it was a camp, not a VBS. If you all want to do a snack and a drink, you all can do it for each day. It's up to you, really. And we cut out every single piece so that, because our camp ran for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours max, we told the parents that it would last for 3 hours, but our goal was to end in 2.5 hours, which we were able to do, probably going over by 10 minutes, one day, I think. So we cut everything out so that they wouldn't need to have scissors or anything like that. And we put in glue sticks in the bags. And we prepared 53 day ones, 53 day twos, and we, itemized them. And then we put all of those down in one bag for each child, right? So we labeled the individual bags, the day bags, and then we had bags with each child's name on it, and we put one of each in the bag, and we gave it to their parents, right? We gave it to their parents because we wanted to make sure that, number one, the kids didn't get into it beforehand, and that, each day the parent would give the child the bag in the morning. And even with that, so when you heard Gina talking about improvising and having to tell the child that it didn't work like that all the time. So there were a few kids who got into the bags before and then they couldn't find their stuff. So she had to get them to improvise, right? Any other questions regarding craft?
Would it be a good thing, you think, to all of the pieces, like Gina, the pieces for the tomb and Lazarus, well, not Lazarus, but different pieces to the tomb, perhaps on the back of each or something, you have it numbered so that you can
Right.
say,
Well,
take
it's
number
not really
one.
necessary because the
Mhm.
pieces are different, and they
Mhm.
will be looking at your hands
Show
while you
them,
are
yes, yes, yes.
talking. So,
Mhm.
and it's a good way for them to listen and follow instructions and be obedient. And you could also use that in your club for points
Mhm.
and stuff as well,
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So I'm guessing we don't have any more questions. We hope this was informative for you. McKinney unfortunately she feels really bad. I'm going to tell you all that. She feels really horrible about the fact that she wasn't able to continue because of her computer, but these things happen. So show her some love. And I know, because I was getting good feedback during the time that she was doing her presentation, um, she really wished that she could have continued the session, but that's how it is. So we're about to close. We hope that this was, of benefit to you. It wasn't something that we had planned, but because we were getting some requests and there was a need, honestly, I only asked them to do this. When was it? Saturday or Sunday?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, we only decided to do this on Sunday live. We were planning to just kind of do videos and put it out there, same informal way, just to share it. But we just wanted to have this so that you all could ask questions and see it live and actually do it along with us. As I said before, the video is on our CEF TT North YouTube page. Subscribe to it, click the notification bell, like the videos so that when we have more videos coming up, if we decide we're going to add more stuff to it, you'll see it when it comes up, and you could always be a part of any programs we have in the future. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening, everybody, And God bless. All the best in your VBS and 5-day club programs. We're here for you. Email us, message us, and we'll respond and see where we could help. God bless and bye.
Don't
Thank
leave
you
yet.
so very much.
Don't leave yet. We must
Bye.
say
Wait,
thank you
Carrie.
so much for the knowledge that you have passed on to us. In some way, I am sure we all have learned. We would really like if you all could do the video with the first presenter.
The jot form.
Yes, the jot
Okay.
form, and really have it out so that we could go back and look into it. Thank you so, so much.
Will do. We appreciate you all. Thanks for staying on for the past 2.5 hours. God bless. Okay.
We appreciate you a lot too. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're building efficiency.